Good morning. I'm not ready for this. Hang on. CarniVLOG number 19. I had to look that up. Okay, I really want to get in the shower, but I want to do this first. So let's just do this. Let's just put on a headband and smooth all that down. And then I can take a shower feeling really accomplished. Having CarniVLOG number 19 complete, maybe even uploading. Days for days. Ketosis in a meat shell, not a nutshell. Pun intended. And why I haven't been vlogging. All right, let's do days for days. Here we go. I have 21 days left on my commitment to not eat at any restaurants for 70 days. And I did come up with a little exception, and I'm so glad because it allows me to feast every once in a while. Here's my exception. If it has the word barbecue in the name and it's primarily catering, but they happen to have side items and they happen to have picnic tables available to sit on. I'm not calling that a restaurant. I'm just not going to call it a restaurant. I'm going to call it a place where you go get some barbecue. And I'm so glad because there have been days lately where I had several days in a row where I only ate like hard-boiled eggs and beef jerky because we got lots to talk about. You and me, we got lots to talk about. So after hard-boiled eggs, like one day I was at the gas station, got a couple hard-boiled eggs, and I was like, I've already done this once today, come to think of it. Each day, I am in a season right now where each day feels about like a week. And that's not an exaggeration. So one day I got hard-boiled eggs at a gas station. I was like, this is not the first time today I've gotten hard-boiled eggs at a gas station. I've been somewhat opportunistic. And when I have the opportunity to get 2 pounds of brisket covered in salt, dripping in fat, black, crusty, outer, crunchy. Greg walked past me one day and he had gathered this for me. My hunter-gatherer, Greg, he had gathered this brisket for me and he walked past and got the piece. You know what I'm talking about? Like the piece. Where it's like not just the black crispy around a slice, but like the actual like edge. He walked by and he goes, I need one more little piece. And he took that and ate it. And I was like, shocked. He is lucky to still have 10 complete digits. But really he's not. I reined it in. And I said, thank you so much, my dear, sweet husband. I will submit to your authority. I'm kidding. I will do that. It's all over the Bible. I am happy for my husband to be the head of this household. But I just kind of cracked myself up saying something like that, imagining someone out there just exploded. That's not funny. I don't want people to explode. Let me start over. I took a deep breath. And I did what you do when you want your marriage to continue. And I said, darling, it's fine. Would you like more? You can have it. I cannot eat 2 pounds of brisket, but I think I can. And I give it my all. Let's move on. I have 3 days left on my commitment to only eat, and this is actually Greg's and my commitment that we made starting April 17th, only eat animal products for 100 days. We started carnivore April 1st. I saw Kelly Hogan's video called How Sad Is It to Only Eat Meat? It's a 3-minute video. It's in my CarniVLOG playlist. I'll attach that playlist below. February 27th, I started macros, counting macros. I counted and I counted and I counted. It was a lot of counting because I was doing a lot of eating. It was like hundreds of carbs and lots of bananas. And one day I realized I was getting to the point where every day I was eating 3 full avocados and 6 full pieces of Ezekiel toast. And boy, was it good. Ezekiel toast, toasted real toasty, and then put an entire avocado on there, eat it. It was like I was like big sandwich. Little did I know what I was wanting to do was stuff my face with enormous amounts of brisket. And that was like a little green smushy brisket sandwich. It just felt so good to eat. Anyways, February 27th, I started counting macros. March 27th, I was in the kitchen and saw this video. I mean, I'm like watching a video while I'm buzzing around the kitchen, Grand Central Station. My husband's there, a bunch of our kids. And I was like, I mean, listen, God gets my attention. When I went to college and I met this man and we had the same last name and we had the same major, God was like, listen to me, Emily. Listen to me. We didn't have the exact same last name. I dropped an E and added an S. But anyways, he got my attention. He got my attention March 27th, like literally watching this little 3-minute video while there's people around. Like, I don't normally do that, like with the sound, and he got my attention. I was like, hang on. Kelly, you spoke to me, girl. I think we're cut from a similar cloth. So that night, I let myself have a big old ribeye. And I mean to tell you, Greg and I are about to celebrate 20 years of marriage, 24 years together. And I have never eaten a steak the way he eats a steak. I didn't want to. At a restaurant, he's all about the meat. And I'm like, load that potato. I want a load of potato and bread and ice cream. So he's all meating it up over there. And I'm like ordering all my carbs. But then I'm still looking at his steak like, boy, that looks good. But that's how dudes eat. No, it's how ladies eat. We are redefining ladylike here, people. So that was it, March 27th. I ate my first, that night, like 2 minutes later, I ate this big old ribeye. And it kind of freaked me out because I was like, that was good. And something's happening. I literally was like freaking out. So I ran back in the kitchen and ate rice cakes covered in peanut butter. Because it was almost like I could tell, I swear to you, I could tell something was about to happen. There was about to be a big pivot in my life. And I was sort of getting a little cold feet, if you will. That night, we kind of dabbled with this a couple days and talked about it a lot and started carnivore April 1st. I have not had a fruit or a vegetable since March. I don't miss them. My kids can eat them if they want. I don't make them anymore. It's really made my life a lot easier, not forcing people to eat things that come to find out they're allergic to. Thomas will never let me live that down. Oh, eat your peas, eat your peas. And he's like, but they make my throat feel funny. And I'm like, well, eat them, Thomas. He's allergic to legumes. I don't make him eat those anymore. So, we did that for 16 days. And then on Easter Sunday, we had such an exhilarating experience downtown, participating in what we called parking lot church for 3 months. And we spent Easter Sunday with what I called people that are homeless, right? Not homeless people. I learned person first language when I taught special education. It's not a Down syndrome kid. It's a child, like any other child that has Down syndrome. So these are people, like any other people, that don't have homes. And I mean people like any other people, because they are dealing with addiction and mental health issues. These are my people. And I love them so much. And I'm so aware that God has chosen to give Greg and I all that he's given us. Greg told me yesterday a good friend of his got hit by a train and killed. And another good friend of his is spending time in jail because they went to the county fair and he let his buddy ride around with him in a golf cart. These are highly intelligent, well-off, wonderful human beings. And they were drinking alcohol. And his buddy fell out of the golf cart and busted his head. And by the time Greg had told me this, they had his skull open to relieve pressure. And the guy driving, that's Greg's good friend, is in jail for potential manslaughter. 2 friends having fun at the county fair. A 33-year-old dad and husband that got hit by a train. I'm just so somewhat painfully aware of how absolutely wonderful and wonder-filled my life is. And I refuse to not share the blessings that God pours into us and onto us, because I know that that's why he pours them into us and onto us, for us to let them flow, lift, let it flow to them. That's what he told me years ago. Let it flow to them. If I even so much as tell Greg that I'm concerned about finances, I almost cannot finish that sentence with a straight face, because I can just imagine God saying, as if you are giving yourselves these gifts, as if you need to concern yourself with them not with emptying to the point of not having, as if you're controlling your life. Greg and I feel very convicted to share. So we did the morning of April 17th. And it was wonderful and lovely. And that started Parking Lot Church. Because 2 ladies said, do you guys go to church anywhere? And we said, no, not really. No, we're kind of in between churches. And I said, how would you like to just meet here again next Sunday? She wanted to go with us. And they said, let's do it. Okay, let's do it. Now, we never saw them again. And I swear to you, it's very possible they're angels. They got Greg and I to come again the next Sunday. And we came for 3 months. This would be, if I counted it up, probably week 13, because it was the 17th. Last Sunday was the 17th. But we went back to Greg's mother's house for Easter, and I'm sure because I was so excited about the way it went and how wonderful it went. If we consider ourselves emotional eaters, sometimes a pretty uncomfortable emotion for me is excessively excited. Doesn't that sound like a Tigger? I'm a Tigger. My husband's an Eeyore. I heard a comedian last night say, marriage is work when one person is boring and one person is crazy. I don't like the word crazy. I just don't think it's a nice way to describe people. But when he said that, I was like, oh yeah, that's exactly right. When one person is Eeyore and one person is Tigger. Every once in a while I see a 2 Tigger marriage. None of us have ever seen a 2 Eeyore marriage, because they're all inside their homes having food delivered. Where was I? So we got to Greg's mother-in-law, my mother-in-law's house, and we were having fun. And they had all the regular Easter festivities, and we decided. I was trying to stuff myself with meat so that I wouldn't want all the cake. That just sort of started this probably lighten up my brain from binging somewhat, just eating and eating and eating all the meat I could eat. You know, deviled eggs and ham and turkey and all this. My brain was like lit, and I was wanting those Cadbury eggs and that coconut cake and the whatever kind of cake has that graham cracker crust, chocolate pie, I don't know, cheesecake, I don't know. Anyways, we went for it, and it was fun. It was so much fun. It was our last hurrah. And then, I mean, stuffed. I went and got stuffed crust pizza because that's what addicts do, right? They get it all in before they know they're going to be walking the line again. We started walking the line the next day. I said, Greg, I need a number big enough that, like, I don't think about it every day. I'm not like, day 1 of 7, day 2 of 7, day 3 of 7, day 4 of 7. I can do it. I can do it. I can do it. No, I need a bigger number. I said, let's do 100 days. We've done this long enough to know we're okay. We're not going to die. It's not going to kill us. So we said 100. When I looked up you can do this. Google, what day is 100 days from today? And when I put that in, starting April 18th, our 20-year anniversary popped up. So this is a gift to Greg and I. And, it's amazing and wonderful, and it very much surprised me that we will complete this the day before our anniversary, and we will celebrate our anniversary this week. Having been birthed into a new life, it's sort of like going down, yes, a birth canal. It gets tight. There's a squeeze. Might be painful. Keep going. That's my recommendation. If you're going through a birth canal, don't turn back. Keep going. But also kind of imagine like a little stream, and you're on a raft. 100 days of meandering, sometimes rough water, sometimes not, but you're coming on down, and then pop, spits you right out into really beautiful water. A new life. That's where we are right now. Let's see if I have enough charge. Oh, I didn't turn it around. And that means I showed you that. Good news. I'm actually very proud of that. Everything you see there is clean. Now, let me hit this button. Okay. Let's continue. Oh no, we can't have that. All right, Karen, darling, look at that. Karen, we are over 25% complete of our 200-day challenge of nothing but beef, butter, bacon, eggs, liver, and sardines. Greg and I have been busy. Every day's felt like a week. I have not one time thought, I wish I had more variety in my diet. No, I've thought, do I have bacon cooked? Oh, I have that beef cooked. I can eat that. I mean, I am just like chewing and swallowing whatever I can grab a hold of, whenever I can grab a hold of it. And not once have I thought, this is boring. I want this, I want that. No, I'm like checking my calendar, answering text after text from, I'll tell you here in a minute. Beef, butter, bacon, eggs, liver, and sardines, that's enough. And sunshine for vitamin D. Okay, one more. Speaking of beef, butter, bacon, eggs, liver, and sardines, God asked me to commit to that for 3 years. And I said, sure, why not? All right, here we go. By the way, I'm really looking forward to, like, when I tear off enough of these, I can use a little Allen wrench and screw that in tighter. Because right now I got some nails holding it up. Isn't it? Doesn't it just look awesome? But actually I love that, because you know what? These next 3 years are not going to be perfect. They're going to be perfect. Okay, let's see here. 1,073 days left of my commitment to eat nothing but beef, butter, bacon, eggs, liver, and sardines. And I forgot, no restaurants except for barbecue places. I'm gonna make this vertical so I can turn it into a short and have it be its own separate thing. Ketosis. This is ketosis in a meat shell, not a nutshell. By the way, I don't miss peanuts or peanut butter. Isn't that amazing? Here we go. Fuel. We run off of one of two types of fuel: sugar, carbohydrates. Carbohydrates break down as sugars, or fat. Fat's where it's at. That's when you're in ketosis. You're not going to get there until you've allowed your body to go through these three stages by not eating. Number one, you're going to eat you're going to burn what you just ate, all the carbs. Number two, you'll finally burn the proteins that turned into glucose. Our kidneys do that for us. Glucose, OSE, is a sugar. So you're burning sugar, you're burning sugar. You're not burning fat until here, ta-da! You have gone long enough without eating that you are finally burning fat. And this is where we want to be. So after you eat, try and go and go and go until you get to this point. I like to go until I feel like I'm running on fumes and then get to the gas station and fill up. And why? So that you are building muscle and burning fat. It's where we want to be. Yeah, I did it. Spit all that out in 1 minute or less. I'm doing this with Karen. She's doing awesome. She's going through the Keto Continuum book by Dr. Bosworth. Fantastic. I've got this little glucose monitor up there. Great. I look forward to that, but my brain doesn't want any more data right now. I'm saturated with information lately. I'm living a learning curve that I would be fascinated just to walk alongside someone else living, let alone being in this first person position. And I definitely don't want to kill it one day, eating only animal products, no pun intended, and then wake up the next morning and see that my numbers aren't where I want them. I definitely don't want any bad news. Because you know what, it's nothing but good news that I'm staying away from sugar and flour. So I am only celebrating what I've got going on, but I'm probably in ketosis. One of two reasons. Number one, oh my goodness. All this stuff that I'm going to link it below. I'll link several playlists below. But what I am learning about fasting and the healing properties of it. By the way, some doctors, they say you're not fasting until it's been 72 hours. Up until then, you're just going. You're just living. You just went to the gas station and now you're going. You don't leave a gas station and say, okay, pull out and say, now we're fasting. No, we're not. That doesn't make sense that we would ever be in a constant state of input, right? So when you leave the gas station, you're not fasting from gasoline, you're using it. So after you eat, be in a stage, a cycle, a rotation of just using it, just living, just going, right? It's a feasting, fasting cycle, which is why when I've had a couple hard-boiled eggs kind of days, I'm ready to feast on some brisket. But what we want to get to is we want to finally get to the point of ketosis. And we cannot get there until stage 3. Our body's first going to burn up all the sugar we just ate, whatever carbohydrates you just ate. It's why when I was on a swim team, they would have us eat packets of dry Jell-O in the parking lot or right there hanging out when it was almost our time to go. It seems so over the top to me now because we're like a bunch of little chunky 8-year-olds and they're like, carb load. And I'm like, that's what I've been doing for 8 years. I'm ready for this. I've been training for this. Okay, they would have us eat packets of raw, dry Jell-O so that we would instantly have this like explosive sugar source to burn. If you can keep from chewing and swallowing for long enough, then your body will have to switch fuel sources because those readily available carbohydrates will not be there anymore. You would have used them. When my kids eat ice cream, I'm like, yay, wasn't that good? Now go run. For every scoop, they have to run 5 miles. Not really, that's not true. Okay, number 2, if you can go, this is a big if you can go long enough without chewing and swallowing again and reintroducing more carbohydrates to your body, which, by the way, on carnivore, you're really not introducing much. If you want to get into ketosis, you just got to get that protein down because protein miraculously gets converted into glucose. what? Right? I thought if I'm eating protein, I'm eating protein. Our bodies take that protein and turn it into glucose, a sugar. So stage 1 is running on sugar, stage 2 is running on sugar, and stage 3 is where we're trying to get to, but we can't. Say it with me. We can't get there unless we stop stuffing our pie holes. Stop stuffing our faces. We have to have a break. We have to leave the gas station and burn up the fuel. This gets us into a stage called autophagy and some other stage that has to do with our mitochondria, the membranes surrounding each cell in our bodies. This is amazing. You ready for this? And don't take my word for it. Listen to these videos below. Our cells, if we will quit reintroducing more fuel for our body to deal with, our cells finally get to regenerate and renew. And like scavengers, our body eats away at itself. And it eats up all those not so great cells. This is like cancer prevention. This is every ailment under the sun you can imagine, improving it, because it's improving it on a cellular level. Autophagy and mitochondrophagy. High five emoji for anybody that comes up with that word. It's something to do with mitochondria, and I think it has an ophagy at the end. I don't know. I can't quite figure it out. So that's what this is. It's very motivating. And why? Why do we want to get to the ta-da part? Because that's when we're building muscle and we're burning fat. That's how we want to operate. Karen is saying, I feel amazing. I'm like, girl, I do too. And it's like, how could we not feel amazing when we're fueling ourselves this way? You know how you go to the gas station, you always get unleaded because it's the cheapest, right? And you look at that special fancy gasoline and you say, not for you, 2000 Suburban, not for you. This is me giving myself top grade fuel. And when I've given it to myself long enough, it is no wonder I feel better than ever and betterer every day. I'm cooking bacon for Mary.
What?
I said I'm cooking bacon for Mary, and I'm editing this video, cleaning my kitchen, and I just realized, I said, I think I am in ketosis, even though I'm not checking my numbers, because of one of two things, and I don't think I went on to say either one of those two things. Hang on. Oh, I can't hardly hear myself, and I hope this is recording. Number one, I think I'm in ketosis because I know that I'm going so long. There are times it's over a 24-hour fast. There's times I break the fast. Mary, turn that down. Turn that down. There are times that I break the fast and I have breakfast at 9 p.m. And at that point, I've got so much on my mind, and I had such a big day that I just have a little bowl of beef and go to bed. That's not the goal. The goal is to eat until you're comfortably stuffed, to feast and then fast. But my point is, I am fasting long enough. Some days it's 24 or more hours. Other days I eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner because I want to fuel up as much as possible. So I'm pretty sure I'm in ketosis because of that. Also, because of the changes to my body, I'm so excited. I am condensing, consolidating. I'm shrinking up a little bit. I have a hint of a 2-pack. My belly's flattening out. My clothes fit great. My denim, you wear it for a couple days and your jeans start to get really loose and you need to wash them and dry them so they'll be snug again. It's going so great. Also, while I'm thinking about it, we want to get into ketosis to build muscle and burn fat. And did you know that if you want major gains at the gym, I have heard, feel free to fact check me on this, but I'd rather you not come back and tell me because I'm not worried about it. But for your sake, if you are, we produce more of the growth hormone in a fasting state. So if you've been fasting and then hit the gym, you are going to see more gains. You're going to build more muscle when you're in a fasted state. Thank you, Thomas DeLauer. Back at our program. And finally, why haven't I been vlogging? Cassie, remember a long time ago when I went 3 months without having anything on YouTube, and then I put out Endure and Enjoy, and I thought, this video is 2 hours long, it's a lot of personal information, I'm going to delete it. And you, Cassie, you left me a comment that was like, thank you for this. You're awesome. Something along those lines. And I was like, really? I was just about to delete this. And you're like, do not delete it. And I cried tears because I was like, oh my gosh, God just used you, Cassie. I just wasn't going to do it. I was just going to kind of like not do this anymore. And I called her my well pumper. We have well pumpers in our lives, people that get the Spirit to flow. And he has flown. He's flying. Okay, so it's a little unusual for me to see that I made a woe is she video, and then the next video I put out was a woe is she video. That means I went 7 days without sharing my experience following Jesus Christ as he's leading me through this journey of diet, nutrition, and sobriety. So why haven't I been vlogging? You know what the truth is? I have been vlogging. I've been vlogging my heart out. I have another series of vlogs that I'm doing right now on what I call my private channel. It's just where I started putting my home videos after this channel became what it is now. I told Greg one day, I said, Greg, I've got to keep putting these videos out because I get tens of people watching them. And you know what? I don't make light of that. I would make them for me. It's good for me to help me process through all this, but I would make them for one person. And I mean that. I absolutely mean that. I like the quote, the most important person in your life is the person right in front of you. If just one of you out there listens to one of these videos and it's an encouragement, I really believe, okay, Lord, we did it. Now, look, all I have to do is what he tells me to do, and he's telling me to keep doing this. But typically, I share more about this carnivore experience than I have been lately. But again, this channel, once it kind of became about bright line eating and then whatnot, I had about 15 home videos, and one day I'm just going to release them all because I want my family to be able to access them on this channel. I have another channel that I just turned into my like home video channel, so I can make a video of the kids and then send links to like grandparents. So over there, I've been uploading this new series. I'm not even going to tell you the title right now, but I will tell you the subject matter. You ready for this? Whew. Are you sitting? Greg and I are adopting. We're in the process of adopting 2 sweet boys. I'm going to leave it at that. I'm really looking forward to sharing these vlogs, but I won't share it until the babies have been born, per se. It's just not time. It's not official. It's not official till it's official. The circumstances are amazing. Sort of feels like it just barely touches on it. It's like amazing. If I said times 100, that would feel like it barely touched on it. It's just one of the most miraculous things I've ever personally been involved in. And I say one of because I have witnessed the birth of my own 5 children, and I was there the day I met Greg, and that was an absolute miracle. And I don't make light of any of that because that is the garden that God's been having me grow in. It's the garden that he's allowed me to nurture and tend to, and now it's the garden that is ready to transplant 2 little flowers. All this has come about very quickly, like I would say probably record-breaking as far as adoptions go. But here's what I want to say. I have a video called More Than Sober, and that's what I'm living right now. This bright line eating, macro, carnivore journey, it all works together. This new series of vlogging that I've been doing on my private channel that I'm just going to turn into a playlist, and I'll share it here one day, maybe in a month. I'm telling you, this is all moving very, 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 very quickly, which is why I've been vlogging, so that I can process through the mail that comes in every day and it doesn't pile up. I can't afford for it to pile up. I still have a home and 5 kids that I'm raising, and I need to be able to move forward. I can't get tangled up and paralyzed with fear or logistics or fear of logistics. But my video on More Than Sober, I say, sobriety is not the goal. Sobriety is not the goal. It is the bridge to get us to our Jeremiah 29:11 and our Habakkuk 1:5, the plans God has for us, to give us a hope and a future, to prosper us, not to harm us. Habakkuk 1:5, God tells us, if you knew what I was going to do in your nations, if I told you, you wouldn't believe it. I'm living that right now. That's for sure. If he had told me this, like I said in one of those recent vlogs on that other channel, I'm not going to say I wouldn't have believed it, because God and I are pretty tight. If he tells me something, I try to take his word for it. Jesus is the word, John 1:1. But it would have been hard to believe. And I sure couldn't have imagined how he would have worked it out. And I cannot imagine. I don't know what tomorrow is going to look like. I just know what right now I'm making this, checking in with you guys, letting you know someday I will share this story. And I know that the next step in my life is to shower and go to church. But that's what I'm living right now. I'm living this truth that more than sober, we are not to spend, like literally spend. We have a lot. God is a source. Everything else is a resource. And he gives us resources to spend: time, money, energy, calories, right? A life. We are not to spend that life trying to get sober. Let's get on with it. If you're addicted to something, if you're tangled up with it, if you feel like you can't live without it, let go of it. Abstain from it. Fast from it. Train your brain to crave Jesus. Turn to him when you're wanting that thing. Every good and perfect gift is from above. I promise you, that alcohol, those cigarettes, the pornography, the gambling, the sugar, the flour, the binging, those are not good and perfect gifts from above. That's a bunch of crap that this world has tricked us into getting tangled up with. If you're addicted to it, abstain from it. Create capacity in your life that God can then fill. I want to tell you that years ago I heard, if you are trying to get off sugar and flour, don't give it 14 or 21 days. That's how long you do something to build a habit. You want to get in the habit of making your bed every day? Go for it, 21 days. But if you want to get off a substance, notice rehab centers are typically 30, 60, or 90 days. So on April 17th, or I should say the morning of the 18th, and I said, Greg, let's do this, but for long enough. Let's do it for 100 days. I thought, I want to give myself this grace period where if I'm on day 63 and I'm really craving sugar, I'm not thinking, well, darn, I should be over this by now. No. 90 days. Let's see what happens. And I am here to tell you that I realized, now you could see I hadn't been keeping up with my calendars. I finally realized one day that on day 91, and by the way, I don't think about sugar or flour anymore. Susan Miller knows what's going on. And she said, I bet you're not so concerned about food anymore. Nope. Just enough of it to stay alive, to keep me going. On day, I'm not craving sugar anymore. I took Claire to the movies last night because we've had so much going on. I wanted a one-on-one date with her. She got her popcorn, she got her soda. I sat there with the water. I actually fell asleep at the movie theater. It didn't cross my mind. It didn't enter my mind. I'm telling you, I'm with Claire and I'm also thinking about some stuff. And I'm like, put your phone down. You can figure that out later. I mean, it's just almost constant communication with a handful of people right now. It didn't enter my mind. I didn't so much as think about sugar or flour, let alone tell myself, no, you can't have it. I just sat there next to her and we cuddled and snuggled and it was perfect. On day 91 is the day I met with the adoption attorney. That's not a coincidence. I had crossed the bridge. I'm sober. and I'm experiencing my Jeremiah 29:11 and my Habakkuk 1:5, and it is now time to go to church. I love you dearly. We will talk again soon, and I look forward to sharing this testimony that's certainly not just mine. There's several people involved, and that's another reason I'm not going to share it yet, because it's ours to share. I love you dearly. We'll talk again soon.